I never thought I'd find myself working as a caretaker in a cemetery, but life has a funny way of leading you down unexpected paths. And so, here I was, walking the silent grounds of Rosewood Cemetery, with nothing but the moonlight casting eerie shadows on the tombstones. The cemetery was known for its tranquil beauty during the day, but at night, it transformed into a different world altogether. It was a place where the veil between the living and the dead seemed to grow thin, and the whispers of the departed mingled with the rustling of the wind. My job was simple enough: maintain the grounds, tend to the graves, and ensure everything was in order. The first few nights were uneventful, and I settled into a comfortable routine. But as time passed, strange things began to happen. It started with the statues. Each night I would swear they moved ever so slightly, their eyes following me as I went about my duties. At first I brushed it off as a trick of my imagination, a mere consequence of working alone in a cemetery at night. But the statues seemed to grow bolder with each passing night, inching closer to the paths, their gazes turning more intense. One particularly foggy evening I heard a mournful wail echoing through the graveyard. It was a sound that sent shivers down my spine, a cry so haunting that it felt as though it had been etched into the very fabric of the night. I followed the sound, and to my astonishment it led me to a freshly dug grave. As I peered into the dark abyss, a figure emerged from the depths, its body adorned with ethereal robes. It was a spirit, a specter of the night. And it spoke to me, its voice carrying a hint of sorrow and longing. "I have been waiting for you," the apparition whispered, its voice carrying the weight of countless untold stories. "I am the caretaker of this cemetery, cursed to wander these grounds until someone takes my place." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could I possibly take the place of a ghostly caretaker? But before I could protest, the spirit faded away, leaving me standing alone, surrounded by the cold embrace of the cemetery. From that night onward, the graveyard transformed into a twisted amalgamation of the living and the dead. The statues, once mere stone, now walked among the tombstones, tending to the graves and guiding lost souls to their final resting place. The spirits of the departed became my companions, sharing their stories with me as I worked. But there was a price to pay. The line between the living and the dead blurred, and with each passing day I could feel my own life force wane. The longer I stayed in Rosewood Cemetery, the more I became a part of it, bound to the grounds, forever tied to the spirits that resided there. Now, as I recount my story, I stand among the statues, forever frozen in time. My gaze follows the caretakers who now walk these grounds, just as I once did. The living come and go, oblivious to the realm that lies beyond their perception. So beware the cemetery caretaker, for their fate is to become one with the haunting beauty of the graveyard, a fate more terrifying than one could ever imagine.